Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hittin It with HardWire. Another episode of the one and only me. And I don't have my sunglasses on today, so you can see my ugly shit brown eyes. Woo! How'd you like my little edited intro there? That was all right. That's a little long. I think I might have to shorten it a little bit or something, but yeah. I think we're playing Denver today. We're gonna kick some butt. If we can find a quarterback that'll do something. I think we got Justin Fields in there today because I forget his name already. The other guy, the expensive one. Yeah, he's I think still injured with a calf injury. But yeah, what do y'all think of that debate with Kamala, and an old DJ Trump? Yeah, that was interesting. I don't think anybody really won that debate. That debate was good for neither of them. Trump had some good zingers in there. I think he come into the debate just figuring she was gonna fail, without any real good plan. And yeah, I think he kind of underestimated her a bit. It's bad on him, I guess. But he had some zingers in there and said some things that was pretty good. It was funny. There's just something about her, though, man. I just can't stand it. She's so snooty and snobby and uppity. I can't. She drives me nuts. Just listen to her talk for a minute drives me nuts. I'm glad you guys can make it. Some of you, Dwayne, Steve, Straight, Evil Rick, Mike, Gary. I seen Gary in there a minute ago. They're really dogging Trump for saying that people in Ohio were eating dogs and cats and the Haitian immigrants. And the way I see that is, I used to have fun with people and I'd always ask them, I'd say, if you were ever one of them people in a plane wreck and out in the middle of nowhere and you had to eat a person, would you eat a person? And everybody's like, no, I'd never do that. That's gross. And I'm like, I'd just cut me off a steak. I don't care. Meat's meat. Them migrants, if they gotta kill dogs and cats, we're asking for that, really, because if you import a third world country, none of them speak English, maybe a few of them, but if they can't find jobs or living out in the streets, they're gonna do what they have to survive. And if they got to eat a cat, hopefully it tastes good. Eat a black one so it don't cross my path. I don't really like cats. In this country, we got a real stigma towards what animals we eat. We only eat the ugly ones, I guess. You can't eat the chunky fat ones and the dogs and cats. So I think it was in Korea, isn't it? That's actually somewhat common, but It's like some. I think it's in the Middle East somewhere. They think cows are sacred and they can't eat cows. And yeah, it is what it is. You eat what you got to eat to survive, man. So I'm sorry to say if any of you guys are ever stranded with me, and that guy gets hungry, I'm cutting a steak off. Sorry, I'll wait until I'm about to die. And then, but if I absolutely have to, man, I'm chopping you up. Sorry, I'll put you in a stew. I'll say a prayer for you before I eat you. Yeah, the Democratic Party just is not what it used to be. The Democrat Party used to be the working man's party. I was listening to Tucker Carlson the other day, and he was him and one of his guests was talking about that, and yeah, Mike, I hope I don't get stuck on an island with you. There's only one leg. That's my favorite part. Make some jerky out of Mike. Oh man. Yeah. Anyway, Tucker was talking about somewhere in the Bill Clinton era. Uh, he abandoned a lot of the working class, and this new MAGA movement seems to have picked up a lot of those people. And the party's based the party system is basically did a flip, and the Republican Party's a lot more for the working class. And it's not hard to see at all if you look at the Democrat Party whenever they're doing any of their uh, rallies and whatnot, and they're all rich people. I mean, rich people, completely devoid of any sense whatsoever. Yeah, Gary, you'll have to send me that jerky recipe. I was making my own jerky for a while, and I got a friend that lives in Florida, and he told me to I should try making jerky out of hamburger meat, ground beef, and I marinated some ground beef and tried it out, and it actually works pretty good. I don't have any bottom teeth, uh, so the ground beef one's nice because it's not too hard to break up because it starts out kind of already ground, so it breaks up easy. But yeah, whenever I was younger, I used to consider myself a Democrat, and then I kind of went independent for a while because I thought both parties were garbage, and then I still I relate more to the Republican Party as it sits right now. But it's hard for me to call myself a Republican either. I don't know. I guess I don't like the party system. I think we should do away with parties altogether. I think that's just it's one of the problems with the world right now is because we have that party system. Say a Republican brings something up, writes a bill, and it's a really good bill, and he puts it out. It would be great for America. But because the Republicans submitted the bill, all the Democrats are going to vote against it, and all the Republicans are going to vote for it. And they do not care what's in that bill. They do not care if it's good for the country or not. All they care about is whether it's a Democrat or a Republican that put it out. That's all they care about. So I really think they got to get rid of the stupid party system because it's ridiculous. They don't care about what's good for the country. Yeah, I bought one of them giant. It looks like a caulking gun, and it pushes out. You can put ground beef into it and click it, and it pushes the meat out into little strips. and it works fairly well. But holy moly, is it ever messy? It's messy. But I quit making jerky. Before in 2020, before COVID hit, I used to be able to buy ground beef on sale for 99 cents a pound when it was on sale. Now it goes on sale. It's like $4 a pound. It's stupid. It's expensive. So I quit making jerky. The dehydrator's just sitting downstairs. I think I baked some paint parts out in the garage one day. Yeah, because it's just too ridiculous. $8 a pound. Damn. Yeah, it depends on what you get to. If you get 80-20, for making jerky, you want it to be a little bit fatty. You don't want to get like the 90-10. 80-20 is usually pretty good. Then I use I got powdered Worcestershire sauce. It works good, works a little bit better because you want to avoid moisturizing your meat and putting a bunch of liquid in it, because then you have to dry it. It has to dry all that out. So when you make your jerky, if you can get powdered ingredients, you're usually better off. But you have to make sure it's mixed in real well. The meat from the juice itself will separate it. I'm kind of thinking, wonder what Mike's little stumpy leg there would taste like. That'd probably be good for stirring the stew. Yeah, that's what it'd be good for. Use the leg, just honk him on the head with it, stick it in there, and shove him in the stew, and use that leg to stir it up. See? Ingenuity. But I was just down there by Springfield, and I've seen several different interviews on the internet. I notice YouTube likes to show you, it pays attention like an algorithm. It shows you more of whatever side of the aisle you're on. It'll show you more of those type of videos. And yeah, it should. But I specifically tried to look for both sides of the story. And there are a bunch of them out there where they go down to Springfield and they interview people and they say that it's stupid and ridiculous. And then I watched a bunch of ones where they went down there and they interviewed people and they said it's happening. So it's hard to tell what to believe, but I actually seen some pictures of them carrying around dead geese or whatever. So we got ducks in our park down here. And honestly, if some homeless guy went down there and killed one and hauled him off, I wouldn't blame him. It's kind of atrocious to think about, and that sucks if that's the only thing they got to eat. But you got to do what you got to do, man. You know, that's the bad thing. If you import people from third world countries, man, they're going to try to turn your country into the shithole they came from. And everything went well last week. I apologize for cutting the show short, but yeah, things went real well. My son did get married. The guy canceled on me that was going to do it, but my son found somebody that would do it. And it was nice. Everything turned out real good. Ended up being a real nice weekend. I took him out to eat to a barbecue place. My son, my new son-in-law, my daughter, and my wife, we all went to eat at a barbecue place down here, and yeah, $180 I paid for everybody. I don't know about you guys, but my poor self can't afford that very well. That's a lot to do. Let's see if can you see that. That's my daughter. my son in the middle, and his boyfriend. They got married last weekend. Everything was real nice. We set up the canopy, and it's me and my son. Everything. Well, that's good. Do that again. You got to throw your phone around every once in a while. Keeps them lubed up and functioning better. Throw, especially at the microphone. You know, microphones love when you throw shit at them and bang them and do them. Well, I don't know where that mic drop thing started, but that's every DJ's worst nightmare. That's horrible. That'll bust a mic in a minute, and your speakers too. That thud. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was one of the most awkward, weird things I've ever done. And again, Pepsi, I need some money. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. Product placement. And wow. Yeah, I was talking about the wedding. Yeah, everything went well. He's leaving Monday, moving to Virginia. And Dad had to come inside because I didn't want. I'm one of them kind of guys. I won't shed tears. I won't shed tears in front of anybody. So I would come in the house. Go, oh man, I'm not gonna go pee. Come in the house and get a little teary. It's not as the thought of him leaving and moving so damn far away makes me sad to think about. I'm leaving on Monday, and when he's moving all the way to Virginia, who in the hell knows when I'll see him again. I told him Dad has one rule: when you move out, you better call me at least once a week, or I'm driving down to Virginia and kicking your ass. Who'd you have to delete and unsubscribe to? Dwayne? I was watching BD the other day, and yeah, I had to turn it, all the bashing people on there. I like BD, but they got some yeah, I don't know. They got a real white hating talk on there sometimes. That all drives me nuts. You know, racism stays prevalent as long as you allow it to, and as long as you try to fight racism with racism, we'll never get anywhere. There's going to always be a small amount. You'll never get rid of that because you live in a free country. And as much as I don't like people that are like Nazis and skinheads and white supremacists, they're going to exist. And the thing about a free country is they have the right to exist. You know, just as much as anybody else. You just stay the hell away from them as long as they're staying in the backwoods, wherever they're at somewhere. You know, just leave them alone. But when you do a lot of the things you're doing as a country and going out there and preaching all this white guilt and white hatred, it's going to create a whole nother generation of racism, of racist people, and it's going to get worse, not better. And what drives me nuts is while you're busy bashing white people, you need to remember something. It was a lot of the death and the struggle and the fight from a lot of white people that helped end slavery. And you can't forget about those people either. It wasn't done by yourselves. There was a whole lot of good people that died and fought hard to help you and to end that crap. And it was crap, but took a lot of effort and a lot of good people on both sides to end that garbage. But you forget sometimes when you're preaching all that hate, you remember that. Hey, Code, glad you made it. That reminds me, I'd like anybody that hasn't to Code's got a really good share a Christmas thing going on, and anybody that hasn't been over there and donated money for the kids, really appreciate it if you could go over to Code, if you have a link or anything or something I can post. What is it? Here, let me look it up on my phone here. I got it. I'll put it in here. It's I sent him some money, and I'd like damn it, where's the anybody that hasn't donate for the kids. It's dollar sign. Let me type this in here. Dollar sign. Not typing. Dollar sign. Linked. 73. That's his Cash App. Put it in there on the notes that it's for the share Christmas for the kids in Philly. I live in New Philly, Ohio. Ooh, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, it's gone. It made me disappear for a minute. It's like doing some special effects. You didn't know I had them cool effects, did you? I got them awesome special effects. Hey, Code, do you want to? I don't know how to make somebody pop up in here, but I can try to invite you in if you want to talk about it. You want to talk about it? I've never had somebody on my show, so I don't. We could try to figure it out together. Who cares, right? There's only 6 people in here anyway. Are you in your little studio area there at your desk? When you speak to BD about what all the way they talk, he's kind of when you're a YouTuber or some kind of celebrity or whatever, you really got to try not to do that because you alienate a whole group of potential audience. And hey, Papa, you made it too. Let's see. I don't know if I can figure out how to do this. Uh-oh. I don't know what I did. Oh, yeah. I don't know how to. Let's see. Guest can Let's see. I'll try to figure this out on the fly here. What's your email address code? I think it wants me to send you an email with a link in it. Oh, maybe the Steelers will contact me and say, "Hey, man, we disown you as a fan now. You are no longer allowed to be our fan. You had a Philly guy on there. Shame on you." This is yeah, 43 Troy Polamalu. So he was a bad mother effer. He was cool. I watched that play that they still do replays of it to this day, where he was on the defensive line, hopped over the whole defensive line and sacked the quarterback. That was just cool as hell. I was watching that day. Hey, Lee. Good to see you. There's a few more people jumping in here. I was going to try to have code on, but I'm not sure how to do it. It says to send him an email. I don't have his email address. Need to send him the link. Good to see everybody here. Showed up today, everyone that could. See, Troy Polamalu was a strange guy. He was, I believe he was Hawaiian, but when you listen to him talk, he had a kind of a Mike Tyson feminist voice, you know? And, yeah, that's kind of how he talked. And he liked, he was a pretty bad mother, but he kind of talked funny. God love him. I heard he's a hell of a nice guy. Always doing lots of stuff for kids. I heard he still does. I'm still waiting for Hines Ward to get in the Hall of Fame. He was my favorite player of all time. He could smash somebody and come up with a big old smile on his face. He loved it. You could tell when people love the game and love to play. You could tell he just loved to play, and that's awesome. Too many people do it just for the money. They don't care about the sport, but you could always tell Hines Ward just loved to play. Polamalu had some badass hair, yeah. He's one of the first ones with that look. Now everybody does. I remember, who was it? Brett Kiesel, I think it was. He used to have the fear of the beard, and he used to always have his beard hanging out of his helmet. And that was pretty cool. That was been a couple years ago. Back when we had the Killer Bees, it was Ben Roethlisberger, Bosworth, the kicker, Antonio Brown, and other people. I don't remember. I try to keep the cuss words to a minimum, but that's just how I talk every day. I cuss like a sailor. To me, using the Lord's name in vain is the only real cuss word. I didn't see the S word or the F word or anything like that in the Bible. Like, do not use these words. These are bad words. Society has made those out to be bad words. Yeah, the bus was awesome. I missed the bus. That's what we need, another running back like that. Another running back that's you could always count on him for a yard or two, in tough situations. And that's the kind of guy we need again. because we don't have any short yardage guys. Last year we didn't. We had Fryermuth, and we did not use him very well. We did not utilize him very well the last year or so. But he's also a very good player. I used to watch football games with my older brother all the time, and he kind of stopped watching. He said last time I talked to him, he said it's all rigged, and he kind of quit watching. Hey, GG, good to see you, man. Ghost Eagle. I just I shorten everybody's names. I try not, and I hope it doesn't like upset them or nothing. Sometimes they say weird things, you know. Like the one guy, I was like shorten his name. It's BJ, and I'm like, wait a minute, that might be offensive because whatever, you know. It is what it is. I don't like to. You just never know. Some people get offended easy, get butthurt about everything, and yeah, I'm looking forward to football today. I forgot. I didn't even pay attention to what time the Steelers game's on. I don't know if it's a night game or when it is. I just know who we play. Okay, Google. What time is the Steelers game on?
The Steelers' next game is today at 4:25 p.m. when they will play the Broncos.
Ah, cool. I won't have to worry about cutting my show off. That's 4:25. I like the 4 o'clock games. That's a good spot. I forget what it was. I like messing with Google when I'm in the car. Sometimes it just pops on. I forget what I asked it the one time. I said, "Hey Google," or something, and it popped up, and I said, "Google, you're an asshole," and then it popped up and said, "Well, I don't appreciate you talking to me that way." Me and my wife about lost it. Sometimes it's Can you hear that?
Respond to insults or negative language in a defensive way. While it's designed to be helpful,
replay that.
Remember that it's a computer program and doesn't have human emotions. Would you like to discuss ways to avoid similar situations in the future? Perhaps we could explore strategies for using technology more respectfully, or finding healthier ways to express frustration.
That's hilarious. I know I can hook my phone up to this board. I'm trying not to have too much dead space where I'm not talking or anything, but yeah, the way AI is going, man, you can't get away from it. If it ever goes nuts, we're all screwed. There's really almost no way to get away from it. I have a segment on the program here. What kind of dumbass things can I get my phone to say to me today? What's the craziest? I have to have your email address, Coach. What's your email address? And I'll send you the invite. Can I drop the link in the chat? It's an experiment for everybody today. Well, maybe we can figure it out. What's the craziest thing you ever got your phone to say to you? What was it? Somebody told me to ask it one time. They said, okay, Google, where do you hide a dead body?
I cannot help you with that. Suggesting or providing information on how to dispose of a dead body is harmful and illegal. If you or someone you know is involved in a situation involving a deceased person, please contact your local law enforcement or emergency services immediately.
I'm going to end up on the no-fly list now.
Resources that can help someone you know.
Hey, there he is. Let's see if I can figure out how to put him on here. Hey, there you are.
What's up?
How you doing today?
What's up, man?
Yeah, you want to tell everybody about what you got going on with that share Christmas thing?
Well,
yeah, I know you had some pictures of the last one you did on your show there.
yeah, there's like a little delay. I don't know if anybody can hear that. There's like a little delay, but anyway, yeah, see, like there's a delay.
Yeah, I
All
don't
right,
know.
all right.
What
So
the hell
listen,
causes that?
Make the Wish is a foundation that for the last. This is the third year that I wanted to get money donated, toys, and they even come back out. All right.
Yeah, I don't know what causes that. Mike, aren't you able to get in here and help with stuff like that? Is that any different? Is it working any better now?
A little bit. Seems like it went. I think we're cool now.
So what's the weather like in Philly today?
The I think do you have something running in the background?
There's nothing running in the background.
Do you have another YouTube open or anything?
Just the StreamYard. That's it.
Yeah, just keep your stream on. Yeah, Mike. Where's your? It's like I say something, I'm hearing it like a minute later.
I don't know if that's a setting or what the hell is going on. I don't know how that works.
Where's the tech support?
Yeah, it says Mike's in the area.
Any different now?
What up, gangsters? Off like that? Wow, damn. What you guys up to?
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like it's working now, man.
I don't know. I see how I come in and it fixes itself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm pimping like
Mike.
that.
Magic Mike.
Like that, you know what I mean?
That's good, man. That's good. If you want to know about Make the Wish, I guess you could say one thing I've always done was every year I would go to. There's a veterans shelter in West Philadelphia that's for like I mean, one day I was in there and I see a guy come in. He's in a suit and a tie, and he's sitting on a couch, and I'm like, he didn't check in. What's he sitting here for? Here I didn't know that he has very bad PTSD. He was in the Air Force and he was trying to get some help. So I said, man, I got to do something. So I would always do stuff for the homeless and do this and that. But when I visited a couple of these hospitals, I didn't record anything. I just said, man, I've done toy runs my whole life. And I started looking at the Shriners and the St. Jude's, and I said, Make the Wish was just one that I thought, because it's not really an end of the road. These kids still have a good chance of, survival. And it's just something I said, you know what? I tried it the first year. I raised 1,700. and I'm not going to bring nothing to your show, but obviously you guys know that last year I had a couple haters and they blocked a lot of that, but Reddit cleared me. So I mean, we're way ahead right now. I think I'm actually 370 or almost 400, and we still have till
Damn.
December 15th. I have about 30 guys. Probably if I like to if December's nice, the 14th, we're gonna ride everything up. Whether we have to take a van and a check, whatever, we're gonna ride the bikes up there to some good dudes around here in Philly, and like Delco's right next to each other. I just always wanted to do something, man. You guys know me a little bit. I never talk tough, and my bitch no, but I've always been about. That's why I've always been attracted to the biker lifestyle because you guys give respect but demand it, and it's the same with me. I give everybody a fair shot, but when you see kids that really don't have a lot of people rooting for them, they have their families, like the mothers and fathers still have to work. The Ronald McDonald House families are staying there for weeks at a time. Like we're up here, whoever's having little silly arguments or whatever's going on, and it's like that's the stuff that matters. So to me, I always felt like not just to make me feel good, but I was like, man, you know what? All the people I've known, I've been in the MC world literally 41 years since I was 10. I don't say that braggadociously. I mean, like all the relationships. I've never once asked anybody for anything. So this year is going to be the first year, even though it's the third, that I'm really going to reach out. Like even the little clubs out here, they're on board. So, we'll see what happens. But I always wanted to pay forward a unselfish act. I coached 23 years, man. I had basketball, soccer, baseball. I never missed every year. So I'm working on something too with youth center. It's with my father, it's tough. He's full-time care, but these are all the things I want to do because you guys know, man, when you've been through pain, and like that's why I've never been starstruck. Like I don't care, even all the clubs I've been around, I don't care what president, vice president, with all due respect. I've always shown respect, but I never was like, them guys that come around and they're like, oh yeah, I know this guy, man, and then they run their mouth. I've never been that guy. I just always had a relationship tough. And I figured like if I could build a relationship with Make the Wish and spread this thing to the biker community and to all the other people, maybe we could really do something one day. Like I said, it started the first year 1,700, the second year was 700, and I'm already at almost 400, and we still have almost 3 months. So I just want to do something good, man. I like helping people, man. I hate fake tough guys. I hate bullies. You know, uh, and you guys know there's a lot of other shit that I could say, but I won't talk about because there's no reason to. So I was brought up around right dudes, man. I've seen it in the biker community, the regular community. I was taught right. And when I see people on YouTube, like that every day come up here with some kind of agenda and they talk about people and you look at what they're doing and they're really not doing a damn thing. I'm not saying I'm better. I just realized after 3 years of being here that I don't need to be around certain people. Not even to help me for the cause and what I'm going for. Eventually stem cells is something that I'm really researching. Like that stem cells can stop autism. Stem cells can stop dementia. Stem cells can stop, I don't know about your situation, Mike, because I haven't read into that, but there's so many other things.
No, I cannot grow a leg.
No. I was just about to say that.
I know that.
No matter how many stem cells I get, it won't happen.
I see the other thing with the attaching. Did you see that where they attach?
Yeah, but that's a whole sure. If I can get a $50 million,
yeah, that's gotta be expensive.
Yeah, there's.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like to sum it up in a nutshell, that's another thing. Like if everything costs so much money for these kids to get these care and this, like the least we could do as regular bikers or people is donate a couple of hours, man. Like the lady told me when I went there, it's like pens and pencils. But the main thing these kids love is journals because they have nothing but time. And they get, I got them all kinds of stickers. Man, I've never done any of this shit. I don't know what it's about. I just want it to be, but now it's looking like it might be turned into an annual run. And, hopefully one day I can get it to be as big as it can be. But to be honest, I got to say something with all due respect. Some of these guys over here in Philly, man, with the politics and shit, like, I understand because that's what keeps everything right. But, I feel like civilians in some ways are being disrespected. I don't think that's right. So when you're trying to have a run and there's guys there, they forget, Mike, what it's about. Or if you're at a funeral, they forget what it's about. Like, it's not about politics, man. That stuff has to be aside. Now,
The mission statement. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, and it's always something else. So, at the end of the day, though, man, we're doing great. I just want to help people, man, and make a difference in the world, man. You guys are good brothers too, man. And like I said, your clubs would be fortunate enough to have you guys, man. Because I'll tell you what, if you guys were near me, man, I could easily, like deep you kind of guys, man. That's what I grew up around, man. Not yes men, people that think for themselves, but have respect. And that's the thing, man. You got to respect everybody's opinion. But in your world, it's what some higher up, what day he woke up, how did he feel that day, or maybe some guys got to cover their own ass, so some things happen. But I figured the kids is something where everybody could just take a deep breath, and everybody could have. Well, I didn't think there'd be a problem. Obviously, there's haters, but I just thought that would be a good way for people to do something and make a difference without any kind of politics, whether it's political, the MC shit. Everybody can just come together for one cause. But as anything else in life, I'm seeing it's not that easy, bro. It's pretty tough.
It's not.
No matter what
not
you
at all.
do, you're always gonna have somebody. They're just like anywhere you go, there's always at least one asshole in every crowd, and you're gonna find that no matter what, there's somebody's always gonna try to start stuff with you. You just gotta ignore them and block them.
Yeah,
Cut the bad people out of your life, man.
Yep.
I say, my experience in the MC world, I attribute that to not just learning what I learned from my father and other elders. Like, it's taught me a lot, man. I mean, you learn a whole different kind of respect. Even the politics, like the guys who do it right, man. Like, I have no problem with that. Protocol, no problem with that. But nowhere does it say that for guys to be jerk offs. And even in regular life, man, I just feel like maybe Make the Wish can bring people together, Mike, just a little bit. You know what I mean? HardWire, make people say, you know what? I might not like this or that, but at least for the kids. But obviously that doesn't want to happen. People call you a thief, and then I got to show receipts, and Reddit clears me, and it's just like, man, like I never even come back. I don't yell at anybody. It is what it is. Because one thing I know, I believe my mother, she just passed 4 months ago, but she would always say, people will show you who they are, and when you're doing good, you're gonna have the most resistance. So I know that I'm doing something right. So I don't know. Don't mind me, man. It's been short, man. It's only 4 months. I miss the shit out of my mother, bro. That's a tough one right there.
Yeah,
all
I
good.
just it popped up on my Facebook the other day that it was my mom's obituary from 11 years ago. It's saying like a reminder.
Damn.
And yeah, she was only in her mid 50s, I think, when she passed away.
Oh man, that's
Rest in
way
soul,
too
bro.
young.
Yeah, she finally quit smoking after 30 years of smoking. She got bronchitis one day. Said, if that's how I'm going to feel, I don't want to feel that way, and quit smoking. She drank a bit when she was younger. And she said she ended up getting liver cancer. And her legs were swelling up so bad they were starting to split open from all the water. And the doctors kept trying to tell her they thought it was a heart problem. And it took forever. They finally figured out that it was liver cancer. And
Crazy.
yeah, that was tough. I was there whenever she was breathing funny. She'd stop breathing and everybody'd be like, we think she passed away. And all of a sudden she'd gasp for air. And it was just seeing somebody die like that. I was never one.
So
I was never one for like assisted suicide until I seen the way my mom died. And yeah, that's all I could think is, oh dear God, somebody shoot her up with a little bit too much morphine, let her go peacefully. She wasn't like not conscious or anything, just breathing funny. She wasted away to nothing. It was just awful to see.
See, my father, because with my father, he used to smoke 5 packs of cigarettes a day. As soon as he quit, he started having strokes and heart attacks. So for the last 30 years, he's been banged up, but he recently, the last 5, he's been confined to a bed. So my mother had early dementia, but it wasn't. She still knew all of us. She wasn't like crapping her pants or nothing. But one day she just said she had a headache, and I was like, I ran to the store. My dad's like, she's ready to go to the hospital, and my parents are from Italy. They're stubborn, so I rushed back. She's sweating, disheveled. Next thing you know, man, they put her on the gurney, take the chair one, taking her outside the ambulance, and they have her leaning down. And I smacked the dude and I said, "Yo, what the?" I didn't want to. I wasn't trying to be a tough guy. I was like, "Yo, what are you doing? She's gonna fall." So I went to grab her, and it just seemed like almost her life come out of her, man. And I never I was joking with her. She wasn't responding. That was the last time I seen her alive. I went up to the hospital that night, man, and they said she was brain dead. It was just blood just crushed her brain. It was so much. It was just she had a cerebral hemorrhage, and so it took her out quick. Whereas my dad, he's still here, man, and his mind's there, but he just can't do anything. So I'm 24/7 with him, but it's not a pity party. I'm blessed to have him still here. So it's tough, man. But 11 years, man. So let me ask you something. Is there any difference? Because I hear that it changes a little bit. It gets a little easier, but it still stings like every time, right? Like it still hurts like 11 years ago.
Yeah, it's one of them things, man. Everybody copes and deals with things differently. And for me, it's just literally don't think about it.
Yeah, that's
every time I start thinking about it, it starts bothering me. But I literally just like shove it out of my mind. I don't know. I think they call that compartmentalizing or something.
I think you shove it, you suppress it for a while.
Yeah, my grandpa was like my father to me. And see, when I was 19 years old, I moved up to Parma, up by Cleveland, went to school up there for a while. And I'll never forget, my grandpa used to call me, and he would call me in the middle of the night. He says, "I just want to talk to you and tell you I love you. I ain't been feeling too good lately." And then I would run home, and I'd say, "Grandpa, don't talk like that, man." I'd give him a big hug and tell him I love him. And then he went in. When I was up there, he made my mom and grandma promise that they wouldn't tell me he was going to the hospital for surgery. He had some kind of a burst, like aneurysm in his spine or something. Went in to have it repaired, and he made it through the surgery all right, but his kidneys ended up shutting down on him or something after the surgery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was mad at my parents, my grandma and my mom for a long time. I said that's one thing that regardless of whether he wanted you to tell me or not, you should have told me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely,
that was the end of that. I never saw him again after that. And that's the one thing that upsets me about my children is my grandpa was one of my favorite human beings, and it upsets me that I probably won't get to be a grandpa. But life, I guess. We're all human. We all have things that upset us, and that's what's one of the things when I think about it, it upsets me because I always look forward to being a grandpa.
Absolutely, I understand that for sure.
Mike, you got a long time before you can be a grandpa.
No, but I still
you'll be a cool grandpa though.
I appreciate that. I hope to be a good and cool grandpa. You know what I mean?
I just had a post telling some people come over to your channel. You know what I mean? How does that work? Do people really watch the community stuff all day? And I've been trying to respond to comments, but it's like crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I could go live every day at 10 a.m. every day. You know what I mean? And have that crowd, but there's still an unlimited billions of people that are going to tune in, and so even within this community, there are ones that are more active than not. But then at the same time, there are ones that for instance, we started announcing that HardWire is going to start doing a show Sundays at 2 p.m. his time. And so people knew about it. And then naturally it just kind of gets out. But what's really cool is a lot of the times I could go live from my own community at 8 p.m. compared to 8 a.m. and have two totally different set of people within the community already. You know what I mean? It's almost like the night shift and the day shift. Yeah, it's weird. It's very interesting though.
No, I'm sorry, Mike. They said gunshots at Trump rally in Las Vegas today.
No, I don't think
Trump-
he's
Oh,
in
I haven't heard
Vegas.
about that.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
I thought
wait.
he was there the other day.
Here, let me see.
My bad, bro. I'm just have more
Let me look.
content for Mike Ball.
No, I don't want that kind of content.
No, you know what I'm saying. Obviously, no.
I wouldn't
man.
want that for anyone.
No,
But
screw that.
let me look what's going on.
I always said that's what
Papa
makes
said,
the
yeah.
politicians weak. Yeah.
You know, whenever they're constantly demonizing him the way that
Okay.
they do.
Right
That's-
here, what it is shots fired near Donald Trump as he leaves his Florida golf course.
Oh,
So that just happened 25 minutes ago. New York Post, The Hill posted it 19 minutes ago. CNN posted it 27 minutes ago. AP News 14 minutes ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
They really believe
that's
that he's Satan. They really do. They believe.
Oh, it's unreal. I mean, trust me, we know that the left will do anything to win. So at
My
this point-
stepson, when he comes home from his grandma's, his grandma likes Kamala Harris, and she gets mad, and he comes home, and he gets, in turn, gets mad. He says, "Yeah." My wife was out putting a Trump sign out on the lawn because I asked her if she could get one. We got one put out on the lawn. He come out and said, "You ain't going to put that in our yard, are you?"
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he's only 10. I said, "See what you're," but
It's
that
so 10 years old?
yeah, that tells
Oh,
you a lot
man.
about what he respects. He respects his grandmother more than his mother, or he would pay more attention to what his mother thinks than his grandmother.
You have all your life to get involved in politics. Like,
well,
wait until
mean,
you're
how-
like, well, I
Yeah,
would
she-
say wait at least until you're like at least.
She
16
literally
or something.
tells him Trump's the Antichrist.
no, I'm going to tell you what happens, though. I watch my son because he goes to a Catholic school. And if you remember, back about, he's 17 now, going to be 18. About 8 years ago, maybe 11, 10 years ago, in that range, the schools, even the Catholic, were starting to, that Pope, remember the stuff that he was doing, the stuff he was starting to implement and try to change. So my son was, I mean, he goes to church every Sunday. He's totally the opposite now. When kids are young, they lean more left. I don't know what it is. Then as they get older, they get more,
See you
when
later,
it's time
Papa.
to
That's
pay bills,
actually that's normal. Actually,
yeah,
of course.
definitely.
Mhm.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, but it's definitely normal for younger children to get involved if they're going to get involved in politics, for them to be liberal, because it goes with the flow of being a liberal. Like you want to be energetic, fun, new, exciting, this, that, whatever, you know what I mean? And the conservative movement really ain't like that. It's very conserve value, conserve our money, conserve our land, kind of stuff like that. And you're not really thinking big picture until you're older. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But see, I was raised around politics, but it was because I inquired about it. And even then, my dad would still be easy with me on it, like just real easy about it until I was like 15, 16 years old. Then I, of course, naturally got invested myself, where I'm watching it on YouTube and stuff like that and checking out clips and stuff. So I've been doing it for a long time, but I never really commentated on it until I would say fairly recent.
Yeah, I
It's
just
good,
watched
though.
that new movie Reagan. If you get a chance, you have to check it out. But I often wonder, why things have gotten so bad and so divided in politics. And a lot of that is you literally pay more attention to it when you're older, but a lot of this stuff's been going on forever.
Well, if you look
they're
back,
fighting.
man,
You're right. You're
but
right.
the thing is, even when you look back, like forget about how they fact check him 6 times and not her. The things that she said and lied, that like a couple things. I don't want to get into all that, but I think people read the debate wrong. Everybody looked at the debate like Trump was disheveled. That was strategy. He made her stand with Israel. He made her stand for fracking. He made her not answer where she been the last 3.5 years. That was Trump's, my own opinion. I think that was Trump's strategy, man, to let them think I'm crazy. He'll put Biden away. It wasn't going to change the polls, man. Look, I'm telling you, all the guys down in here in Philly, all the black guys that know, the Spanish dudes, and I'm telling you, 2015, even 20, they've started a little bit, but they hated him. And I said, how do you hate this guy? He's a 360 rep, Oprah, Whoopi Goldberg, all these people. That's the reason why I think it's a joke, man. Like, you guys have all the celebrities backing him, but what the Republicans don't do is they don't stick together like the Dems do, man. Like, you got these anti-Trumpers. Trump has 98% of the Republican Party. That's his movement. That's his party. You should either get behind that or get out of the way. And I still think that that's the only problem. Once he wins, he's got to come in there, man, and he's got to clean house, and he's got to do it a different way. Not like before, man. Jeff Sessions could have stopped all this. Jeff Sessions knew, the attorney general, that he was innocent with that Russia thing, and they just let it go. And the media is against him. So, but you know more about the media with me, Mike. You think that? Have you seen a change? You think now people more like?
The only difference I see in the whole political realm, the only difference is that there's more social media coverage. That's it. And obviously the independent people have come out.
Yeah,
that's exactly whatever was changed. Everything is the internet.
Is the internet. That is by far. We've been like the whole thing. Like people go, oh, it's never been this bad before. We've never seen it. Like no, absolutely. The country's gone through way worse. Actually, it's just on a different scale. It's just you almost can't quantify how it was in real life compared to the internet, and it's hard because. Is it really chaos like social media says? Yes, it is. But like in your everyday life, is it actually? No. You know what I mean? And so it makes it seem to be like it's crazier than maybe it is. Some of the shit is crazy. And the one thing you did say, Code, is one thing I disagree with is about how the liberals essentially stick together. I say, here's why. Is because first of all, their own party split up a couple of times so bad that they threw Biden under the bus, which we saw. I mean, we saw what was going on there. Everyone was backing it 100%, and then once one stick fell, all of a sudden, just everyone falls with it. They're more sheep than leaders, in my opinion. And so
the one thing that keeps them together right now is just strictly a hatred for Trump, and that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad.
Well, even that isn't enough because the Palestine, those riots and all those protests that are going on, those are the Democrats. Those are the Democrats.
Over.
You know what I mean? So those are the Democrats coming over, and so they're fighting their own party.
You're right, but I'm just saying this though. When I saw them, when I seen Trump backed her in, and when he was like, "Oh, stand with Israel," and all the stuff with the squad and AOC. I would thought they were going to be pissed off because they're with Palestine. But when you've seen AOC and they interviewed all of them, they were like, oh, I think she did well. I think it's like when it comes to crash time, like, they don't care. They'll stick together no matter what. I'm not saying it's right. They might look fractured, but when it comes down to it, you better believe, like there's Republicans that come out, oh, I don't like Trump, so I'm not going to vote for him. And there's some Democrats that might go or swerve, but at the end of the day, elections come down to 200, 300,000 people. In states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina,
40,000.
Yeah, and you know what?
It's like in a few swing states. Yeah.
The thing that was good though is when you watch the debate, the independence view. The one thing I'm telling you, man, my mother always said because she was into politics, and they vote with their wallets. Everybody agrees for Trump. He's never lost that poll. He's been up 18 points on the economy and the border, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor, man, because this stuff going on, the migrant thing, whatever people want to say about it, it's coming to a town near you, and it's only getting worse, man. I mean, they made fun of him about, I'm not going to say what he said, because this is your channel. He said something at debate, and they were like, oh, my gosh. Now to find out that it's true. Like, it's just crazy for me, man, to watch it. But
I'm going to tell you the one thing that Trump needs to really focus on, and I'm being brutally honest.
Being humble?
Yeah, right. He needs to honestly focus on the woman vote at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The women are going to sway this entire election. And the thing about it is, if you ask almost every single one of these liberals that say they're voting for Kamala Harris, the very first thing that comes out of their mouth when asked, what do you like about her? Oh, well, our body, our choice. Every time. And then, okay, well, that's cool and all. You like to essentially murder babies. Cool. But what else? And then they don't have another answer. So there's all these women that are actually voting off of one issue out of the entire world. We're dealing with one stupid issue at this point. You know what I mean? So what Trump needs to do is he needs to sway the women's vote at this point.
I mean, I wouldn't even debate her again because like he said, it's the truth. No, but I would definitely do like a comparison. Go to the next rally, put a screen up of her and all the stuff she said that she's not for, because now remember in the debate, she's all laughing and giggly. You guys saw the earrings. We all know what happened. But now you have to stand on that fracking. Like, I don't think people are willing to take a chance like they were in 2020. People thought, Biden was going to do something different. And, to be honest, he's done nothing but make us weaker and weaker and weaker. And at the end of the day, the people come from the border, it's not women and children, it's grown men in their early 20s and 30s from the Middle East, from China, from all these places that, why were they leaving their countries? Because they are getting let out from the jails and asylums and all this shit. And they understand Venezuela's not going to take them back. He already said that. I mean, that was the richest country in the world at one time. And they tried doing what Kamala and them want to implement now, and Bernie Sanders and all that. And a year ago, for 20 years, in 20 years, they were eating out of trash cans. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't work, man. Like, our country is built, whether you like us or not, on Judeo-Christian values. And I don't care what affiliation, religious-wise you are, that doesn't matter. But capitalism is what built the country. If you take that away, and again, like I said, they talk about taxing the rich and Trump's friends and this and that. All their celebrity friends are millions and billionaires. Why don't they tax them right now? Where's the taxes on the rich right now? There's no. Show me proof. Mike, it's crazy because, somebody said, when you're doing YouTube, 50 Cent said, I don't talk about that because you're going to offend somebody somewhere and, no matter what. And then, why would I want not that audience? My thing is, this is America. And if you can't voice your opinion respectfully, that's what I've learned, like from, I'm a little bit older than you. It used to be respectful. People could debate. You say this, say that, and everybody could come together. Now it's like, you either got to agree or just hate. That's all. You know what I mean? It's like two different things. Crazy.
It is crazy. It's a crazy environment.
I think Trump lost the women's vote a long time ago when he said when they started playing all that stuff with grab them by the I think he lost. He lost most of the women at that point.
I mean, actually, there are some pretty based women out there that really think, and they're not really. I mean, not necessarily a complete outlier. I mean, they are to an extent to the majority, absolutely. But there are still a lot of women that got some common sense. But usually, they're shacked up with men. You know what I mean? That's usually what it is. Is it's a married woman that usually goes, "Oh yeah, I totally get it." Yeah, crazy, huh?
Yeah, the Democrats are something else because I've got some friends that are Democrats, but you literally can't carry on a conversation with them. The second anything to do with politics come up, they get mad.
And every time, just so you know, the way I deal with that is every single time I have somebody that is around me that I know is a liberal or whatever, I won't talk politics whatsoever. And if they bring it up, I'll say, do you really want me to get into this? Because if I get into this, you're not going to like what I've got to say. You know what I mean? And every time it's like, yeah, man. And it's like, all right, well, I warned you. You know what I mean? Like, all right, like you are bringing this up. You're pushing the issue, not me. Now I'm responding to you. I even gave you a heads up.
I'm an asshole. I have a tendency to enjoy pushing people's buttons sometimes.
I would say I'm a bit of a confrontation.
I got a Trump 2024 pin that I put on my cut just because I know it drives a couple people nuts.
Absolutely.
Oh, they all got them. They all got them over here, man. They all got them over here. And it's funny too because HardWire, you look like a brother over here that I know, man. And you guys stood next to each other. You guys could pass for brothers, man. He's got the same facial structure, and he's funny. He's sarcastic like a mother effer, man. He does not care. Women, man, he don't give a shit who it is. He's like, he's the old guy. I told him, I said, bro, when you retire that thing, you're gonna be, the guy. Get off my lawn. He's like, he hates the world. Everything's Trump, dude. He's got a flag on his bike and everything, man. He's crazy. Just, I told him, I said, man, like, it's one thing to feel the way you want and express your feelings, but not everything's for everybody, man. You got to respect everybody else's view, But that's the thing. I feel that the Republican Party, I guess I'm more libertarian, man. I really don't care socially what people are, man. If people, the LGBTQ, man, look, I'm not with that, but and even my faith, I don't push that. But when it comes down to the conservative fiscal, like with money and, that stuff works. I mean, we can see what they're trying to do, the inflation, everything. It's actually common sense, man. But the tariffs are still there. They didn't tax the rich. And why is China buying farmland next to U.S. installation bases, like farms and building crops? Like, look, I just say, like, at any point, any president that can allow that to happen, like, are you doing that just to really say F you to the American people? Or are you doing that because you think something's good can come out of that? 20 years ago, China had nothing, Mike. They were, nothing. We had 45% nuclear. Russia has 45%. I mean, that's the facts. Now you have China expanding their nuclear. They had the largest navy in the world. Obviously, we're the best. We have 28 countries in NATO. Trump was the only one to have them pay their portion, 2%, whatever it was. Like, he's right. Like, that's what helped the debt. Like, it's one thing in the debate I didn't hear. Not either one of them mentioned the debate. That never came up. I mean, the debt. I'm sorry, not one time. I think that's the problem, man. Like, we're paying, I think, $1 trillion a year on interest. I don't know. Those things bother me because it's left to the kids. Our kids, grandkids.
It is.
Yeah.
It's something that has to be addressed eventually, but they don't like the answers to it, and the only answers to it is to cut spending, and that's their paychecks. And it's like they make so much money, but you can't. It's like, how in the world did we ever come up with a system where they vote for their own raises? That's crazy. It's like saying, "Hey, Mike, would you like a raise?"
Money comes
Let's
with
vote for a
extreme
raise.
power.
Yeah,
Money
gonna
comes
vote for
when
it.
you have extreme money. Like I like using the use case of BlackRock, right? Now that's essentially what you were referring to earlier about the farmland and stuff like that, which is essentially who does finance those purchases. But the truth is BlackRock doesn't actually own that. They are. It's a free market, right? They don't necessarily. Yes, they're an American-based company, but they are allowed to take money around the world. That is something that they are allowed to do. And so it's not actually BlackRock that buys them out. It's actually these smaller entities that are borrowing that money essentially. But that's case number one. I think that with big money comes big power, and it's extremely hard to fight. This goes in everyday life, right? Like, let's say I try to sue Coca-Cola. Well, bullet for bullet, they will win every time because they got the money, dude. They just got the money and the time, the resources. They got it all. They got the people on standby. They've got 150 lawyers lined up. Yeah. I don't have that resource. And so that's essentially what the corporations do with America, with our government, is they say, well, no, fuck you guys. If you guys are going to do this, we're going to dip the fuck out and you guys can have nothing. And so that happens all too often, but it still is, it's just a very interesting way of how business is done now. And it's not just regional like it used to be prior to the internet, really. Yes, we had international trade and stuff like that, but not everything was so open air market. And it's just big money is always going to be a big problem, even for our own government.
Did you ever hear the story of Elastic Pickle and Walmart? Talking about big business and big power. So now you guys, I'm not verbatim, but this is how it went down. So Elastic Pickle was in every Walmart. There's a ton of Walmarts. So they're actually bigger than Elastic Pickle. They said, oh, we've been a household name. We got the brand. Walmart said, look, we're bigger. You can do one or two things. You can drop your price to this, or we'll just open up factories and make our own pickles, put our name on it or whatever, and just go to war. And I think they pretty much surrendered their fight, and they still are on the shelves of Walmart because there was nothing they could do with that. Walmart's bigger than Elastic Pickle, and they had the box in the corner. There's nothing they could do, man. It's crazy. That's a good point, bro. I mean, it's too much, man. It's people have to
used to
speak
work
up.
with somebody that used to constantly say, I asked him, he would see my Trump shirts and like to make comments all the time. And he would always say, the whole system's broke and we need to tear the system down, fuck the system, this and that. And I said, you know what? That's true. I mean, it would be nice if we could
get to that point,
a way to where we could redo everything, but that's just never going to happen. You have to. I'm the one that's always saying there's a huge difference between idealism and realism.
Yes. You're
And you
really?
have to be
you
realistic
cannot
about
be an
things.
idealistic person. Yes, in an ideal world, it would be great. But is this realistic? No.
Right.
No.
I'm constantly. I got a guy I ride with in the club. It's always saying, "Oh yeah, I'm tired of. They need to get rid of welfare, and I'm tired of paying for these people and that people." I said, "Dude, you, that's one way. That's a simplifying a very complicated problem. Okay, you can't
Yeah.
just get rid of welfare altogether because
Correct.
that would cause mass hysteria, and riots and fights, and you just can't do it. It would cause huge problems with homelessness. People, it would just it's a people like to oversimplify very complicated problems, and the only answer is somebody needs to get into office like Trump or anybody else, get in office and basically put together some of the smartest minds in the country and come up with plans of action of ways to reduce things or make things better instead of the morons we got in there now that write these stupid bills and
Yeah.
all they do is make things worse before they make them better, and they're thinking with money and who's going to donate the most money to them rather than what's best for the country.
I've got a somewhat realistic actual point to like be able to kind of fix the welfare system a little bit. At least it wouldn't fix all of the issues, of course not. You know what I mean? But something
Yeah.
that would help is, and you got it. The only way that it's ever going to work is you have to incentivize. That's the only way it's ever going to work. You have to get the people to want to do that. So how do you do that? Well, what happens is let's say you're on welfare, you go out and get a job. Now you have no welfare, and now you're making less money than when you had welfare. So now you ask anybody that's struggling, why would they do that? That's not a smart decision. Well, here's what I would say is I would say let them keep maybe 50, 60% of what they
For
were already
a period
taking.
of time or something. Yeah.
Right. And then as you scale, we'll go ahead and equally back off. You know what I mean? As you grow, we'll equally, not by percentage, not bullshit. It's just we'll equally back off. I think if we implemented something like that, like that's an actual policy plan, and I'm no politician. And yes, Kamala Harris, that's how you do it. And so yeah, that's essentially what I would do in this welfare state. That's what I would do.
Well,
Well,
another thing too, Mike, the one thing that, and I'm just going to say from a standpoint of, I live near Kensington. My friend right now is in the street getting high. She's stuck in Kensington. She called me
Dude,
4
that's
times.
the most hardcore part of
I,
all of Philly.
I went
I
there the
mean,
other day. I didn't go on
2 mile radius
camera.
right there.
I didn't go on camera the other day because I went looking for her, and I
Yeah.
didn't find her. She went up coming back to my old neighborhood. So she's like really bad, man. I mean, it's to the point like it's eating her skin and everything. And she's like 92 pounds, 5 foot. You nice, like she was my friend, man. Like so she wanted money, and I'm told her I'm not giving anything. Like, you need to go to rehab. You have chances. I had somebody hook her up at a clinic to put her in there. But when you see all the mental health that's going on, and I believe now I have I believe everything you say, but to add to that, I would say if you do a lot with mental health, I'm not saying just force feeding pills on kids, because I've seen that. One of my nephews was on ADD medicine, and he's still not right. He's 30 years old, and he's just his eyes are dark.
You're always going to
Like,
have mental illness
yeah,
in all of society.
yeah,
So yeah, for sure.
but maybe to have make more resources available, and to really do it to the point, and not like, like in this country, a lot of things like, oh, you're either with us or you're against us, or like we're here, you're there. Like,
But
bring people.
here's the thing: people think they're doing right. For an example, Kensington, right? Let's go ahead and use
Yeah,
that example. Now, is it right for them to hand out needles
yeah,
and hand out paraphernalia and do
yeah,
that?
that's
See, the
just
people
enabling.
they think they're doing right, though. They think they're doing right, like, hey, this is the better alternative than jailing motherfuckers. Well, them peeling and scabbing on the fucking street with their head in fucking the ditch, just all over and walking around like zombie land. Do you really think that's a better society? Do you honestly think that's a better society? Now, looking objectively, Now, we would rather throw money at being able to enable a problem rather than throw money at solving the solution. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I can't believe you just brought that up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, we just love to throw money at shit to enable motherfuckers to be degenerate as fuck. You know what I mean? That's
Everything's
essentially
always a
what we do.
Band-Aid.
It is. It is. And there's no real actual fix to it. But the thing is like, for instance, homelessness and shit like that, that's a very complex issue. Like that's you've got mental illness involved, you got drugs involved in a lot of cases, and you've got a financial problem. So now there's so many things going on. It's not just those three things. You've got 100,000 things out of sorts in your life at those three fuck ups. You know what I mean? So we don't throw the correct money at solving that solution. That's it.
But I can't believe you just said that because, look, I watch the news every day. A lot of times my dad, he's watching stuff. So usually when I get off my show, I go downstairs, make them something. My granddaughter, I got to make them something to eat, clean my dad up, whatever. So I started watching 2 days ago. Oregon, who has for 2 years legalized all the drugs,
And
is stopping it because it doesn't work.
Yes.
It's crazy you said that, man, because obviously there's a model. They tried it. It doesn't work. So
every society that has done that has reverted back every single time. It would be like, sometimes like for Portland, Oregon, for instance. Yeah, they went on like a 2, 3, 4 year rampage. And now you're feeling that the effect of allowing that degeneracy within your society. Now you're going to reap those repercussions because what are people all the way from around the world travel to places like that to be able to have an open air market, drug use market.
Great.
People flock to those places because people need a reason. They need to be able to be a degenerate. They need someone to say, you can do this. You know what I mean?
Like earlier, you said something, you were talking about like, the families and like, I forget what you're saying about the kids, but the kids that grow up and the reason why it's such a problem, this is a statistic, a fact, look it up. 40% of all kids in this country are born to a single mother. 70% of all kids born to two parents not in the same household, which means that you have 50-50 chance that your son's going to be one of two things, cocky or confident. Like, I don't hear that enough either, like building confident kids. And when I coach, that's what I did more than coach. I would tell kids all the time, especially the kids that want to quit and give up. Man, I went through that every season. Kids weren't getting played and they felt a certain way, but you have to tell them, man, especially baseball is discipline. You can't just, like anything in life, what do you think? If you go to work and you don't do your work, you're going to keep your job? If you're on a team and team is in team, no I in team, everybody's participating, working hard, training, running, throwing the ball, running bases, like hitting the ball, whatever. Even from a T-ball age, you can always see the kids that are going to get it and the kids that don't. Like I can see all the kids around here now that are on their pedal bikes, smoking cigarettes. My son's in trade school. He's plays soccer still. Like I'm not saying my son's better, but the majority of those kids don't have a parent in the house. And I believe that's a big issue too. So it's a shame because like you said, like there's so many factors to this thing that just one solution, man. And you got so many other things. It's like, how can you hit everything, man? Is it like maybe you have to just one thing at a time? I really don't know the answer. I just know that more people have to have this conversation like we're doing to get started somewhere, man, because you make a lot of good points, bro, for real.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things, man, is right now the education system's broke, the welfare system's broke. Can you imagine if Kamala Harris gets in and they give welfare to all these illegal immigrants? What was the count last? Like 7 million or something legal immigrants in the country? It's going to totally break the system. I mean, but the key is you really need to open up discussion, but Democrats will try to shut you down every single time you try to with some BS. But the discussions have got to be had. They can't be oversimplified. Well, like we just need to stop it. They can't be oversimplified. People have got to. We need really smart people, and as many people as possible from all walks of life and all viewpoints to sit down and have the conversation and try to find answers to these questions, because there's a lot of what the Democrats are trying to say, I can understand to some a little bit. You know what I mean? They're talking. Republicans will automatically say what you're talking about is socialism, but that drives me nuts because what they don't understand is we already have a ton of socialism in our country.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's a mixed system, and a lot of it is socialism. The welfare system is a socialist system.
Most of our
Social
shit is
Security wasn't
actually,
even supposed to be permanent. That was supposed to be temporary. It wasn't supposed to be permanent.
Yeah,
so was
Social
tax.
Security,
Income tax was supposed to
workers'
be.
compensation, all these things is a redistribution of wealth. It's a socialist system. If you've ever been right at the borderline between like getting welfare and not getting welfare, like I was for quite a while, you'll find out that you get free medical, you get a little bit of food stamps, and you get all this free stuff. And then right as soon as you're at the level where they take it away from you, say they take $1,000 a month away from you, and you're making $900 more, you're actually losing.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was my point earlier. Yeah,
And it's horrible. It's something's got to be done where they keep incentives for people to want to lift themselves up out, where
exactly.
it's not more beneficial to stay at that level, because man, I pay out so much in healthcare costs.
And insurance.
It would almost be more beneficial for me to go work at Speedway and make $8 an hour and get free healthcare.
Yep.
Then that's sad. It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've
as much as
overcorrected.
everybody bitches about Obamacare, I will say that he started out with the right intentions, and it could have been a good thing. But by the time all the corruption got into the mix, it totally ruined it and screwed the whole thing up and made it, by the time it got spit out, it was such a horrible thing that it ended up hurting people more than it ever helped people, and it drove the costs up, and it ended up being a horrible thing. But it started out with good intention, and I think it could have been a good thing, but so many dollar signs got in there, and bad policy got stuffed into it that it destroyed it.
I look at vets and I say to myself, like, I watch my father's a vet with the way they don't, like the lack of, and the care. And then you see like the vets come home and they really, the VA over here in Philly, man. I mean, you've seen the scandal, everything that happened. Uh, it's almost like they don't care, man. Like, look, yeah, we can't take care of everybody. You can take care of, like, you go to war, you serve for this country, you come home, you should be able to have, somebody taking care of. Like the Obamacare thing. The only thing that sucked really about that was you couldn't keep your doctor. And my buddy Peanut, he moved to Arizona. His premiums went up. Him and his wife, man, he was paying one something 200 to friggin' whatever it was, like 1,000, whatever the hell we saying. So that was the kick in that. But like, I don't like Hillary Clinton, but look at Chip for kids over here. I don't know if they have it, and I'm sure they have it all over. But that was good for kids. Like, I don't agree with everything, but the thing is, it's almost like, Mike, they only know, even the things that they know will work, they won't implement because the monetary value is way more on the back end. Like their pockets get lined, they push a different agenda, like stem cells right now, whether people believe in that or not. My friend went, he got his knee done, he's running, he feels like it never happened. You can't get the same treatment in the US. You had to go to Mexico. They risk infection.
Most go to Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, why do we always worry? Like the homeless, the homeless are still here, but yet we're giving immigrants, they're all migrants in hotels. They're getting money and checks and $250,000 home loans and $150,000 home loan. Like, we have to fix here, man, and get this thing right, because it's going to happen. It's going to be overpopulated, oversaturated, and it's going to fall because it's going to be too much. Yeah, it's damn straight. It's crazy how people can't see that.
I feel sorry for a lot of these people, but they're coming to our country and filing asylum claims, but there is no asylum because you come from a poor country. That does not qualify as political persecution. You come from a shithole, that doesn't mean you got to come here. Our country I feel sorry for these people. I really do.
Of course.
But our
Can't-
country
can't save
cannot
everyone.
sustain that.
No.
Yeah, but
People
what all
have
the
to understand that. They can't seem to get through their head that our country
Again, the
can't sustain.
idealism and the realism, that's where that play has to come into
Exactly.
effect. People
It
go
would
off
be
of
nice.
emotion. Yeah, like we should be able. Yeah, okay, sure, we should be able to. Sure. Why? I'll
But-
grant you that. I'll give you that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But can we actually sustain this as a society? Absolutely not. And it's crazy
Well,
to say otherwise.
it's funny though because they make fun of him about the border wall, but if you look what Obama did before he moved in that house in Washington, he had a big ass concrete thing, just like Mark Zuckerberg. But then you see what Mark Zuckerberg said that, oh, we suppressed because they asked us to. Like, it's not a fair game. That's the biggest problem, man. If it was just fair, things could get done. Like, you have all these Democrats and Republicans that fight the fight. Now, one thing that I think is horrible, they all came together with this whatever they put together. I forget what committee that was. They're investigating what happened to Trump. So Democrats and Republicans. You see them that day, they were all going hard. That's the way it used to be. Then it's like you see other Democrats making fun of him, and even the FBI guy saying, "Oh, maybe it was a piece of glass that hit him." Like, to even put that out there, like, I feel that maybe, and I guess it's horrible to say this, but maybe we have to revisit what is freedom of speech, like to say whatever you want, whatever you feel, or to say something with the intent knowing that that can bring harm to somebody. Is that freedom of speech? I'm asking. I mean, I don't think it is, but I think you should be able to say what you want, but not like, they say incite. They always say he's inciting. I mean, that other chick, Maxine Waters, was like, get up in those Trump faces, their supporters' faces, and you tell them get out of here and all the stuff that went on. But yeah, COVID. But then Gavin Newsom, he was out in a restaurant with his mask on. Like, it's just crazy. It's just one set of rules, man. And I feel like the libs really don't have to. They don't have to answer for as much as like the Republicans. Or I feel they're held to the fire more. That's only my opinion. That doesn't reflect the view, guys. I don't know how you feel, but so I think as long as you have that, you're gonna have problems. Like, they should be able to say, "Yo, we're adults. Let's go down the middle. You want this? You want this? Okay, let's negotiate." Obviously, Trump's a good negotiator. If he got 28 countries in NATO, only 5 of them were paying their portion of GDP, 2% to the military defense budget, right? By the time he left, all of them were paying. He collected billions of dollars. It was never done before. China never paid tariffs on everything. So to me, strategy, a little bit of negotiation, but as long as you think that you're the winning side and this is the only way, and you're not even willing to have that conversation, yeah, I think what you're saying, Mike, we're gonna fall hard, man. It's gonna get worse and worse and worse, man. Really, that's what I
think
believe.
at this point, kind of like what I want to go based off of what Steve said, we've lost the ability to have a disagree in this country, and
yeah.
I have to agree with that. And also on the case of this is the only way that you can truly get someone to understand that worldview is by having that conversation, right? So this is exactly why I really do enjoy having people that don't think like me on my show. I like to have someone that is totally like, I want to hear your worldview. I want to hear the liberal side actually just as much, if not more, than my own side. I love having those conversations, and the only way you can truly win is because if I'm only by myself, let's say, people that know me already know that I'm a conservative worldview and all of that, right? But then let's go ahead and say let's just say, Code, you were a liberal and we were going to have a talk on this. The only way you can convince I don't care about you at your opinion in the sense of like, I don't care about me changing your mind. I care about the audience that's watching. That's what I care about. So that keeps me always cool, calm, and collected, because ultimately I'm not trying to necessarily get you to change your worldview. I'm getting everyone that's watching, including let's say they were your fans. They came from your channel, but I start talking to you like I have been. Well, your audience is going to hear me speak like that, and they're going to go, "Oh, wait, we've never heard Code say that before. Why didn't I think of it that way? Why am I only getting one source of information on this. And so that's the only way to spark that real interest and get people to talk again, is essentially actually being willing to have that conversation in the very first place. And if no one else is willing to, I am. I'll lead the
I
fucking
think it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's great. Really.
the Democrats like to shut everybody down, and that's a huge problem. As soon as they disagree with you, they try to shut you down. They won't talk. And part of the thing is we got to sit down and talk. If you start getting mad and you don't like what someone has to say, okay, well, let's move on to find something we do agree on. And then you find all your common ground first before you start pressing each other on things. You'll tend to find
it's actually true.
There is a huge chunk that we agree on. It's just a few things. And usually it has to do with somebody's situations in their life, to what's more important to them. Even
it's usually 1 to 3 differences. That's usually all it is. So if you can find that common ground, the more you have, the better.
And they like to shut you down, and they won't talk, or they get mad and immediately want to resort to wanting to fight you. And they're supposed to be the party of nonviolence and love and all that. And that's baloney, because they won't have the conversations. It's the difficult conversations that need to be had. And they need to not be shutting people down all the time. Get mad, get in your face and say, start cussing at you and tell you,
you already lost.
They won't even talk to you.
Yep. But see, if that happens though, let's just say in real life that would be a lose-lose situation in that case. But let's say I was having this argument or this disagreement with Code, and he showed that he can't control his emotions, and his worldview ends up looking shitty because he can't control his emotions, right? So then I'm winning and he's losing. Even on that, I'm still winning. You know what I mean? And so that's the goal of basically what Insane Wheels has done.
No, that's good. And even all the people from my channel went over there, man. Like, they necessarily, when I must have said something, they like the way you do it, and that's awesome. But to be honest, I never really made it about politics, but common sense. I've always told people, no matter what I feel, I'm not going to push my religious or whatever. All you guys do what you want, do what you feel. But at least what I've done in politics and what I've learned from, I'm 51 since I was a kid, and I think you do the same. It's one thing I like that you do. How can you talk about Democrats and what they got going on, or argue a point, if you don't know what their point is and what they're doing? You have to study both sides. A lot of people aren't willing to do that, so you always get these
Republicans aren't either.
No,
Republicans aren't either.
I think they're worse sometimes, and they're their own worst enemy, and they become more of a soundbite conversation than a real substantive conversation. You know what I mean? So, like, it's crazy though, man. I just say this: if you look at all the Democratic, inner city strongholds, they're really having a tough time. Education's horrible. Chicago has the strictest gun laws. They have the most crime. So you have to start maybe the local leaders, man. Like, you have to start voting different people in, and you get the same old people, man, and people have different agendas. It's the machine. Sooner or later, every couple of years, you see a guy, get called for embezzling money or doing this and taking a kickback. And I mean, this stuff still goes on in the government. And that's exactly what goes on in Chicago. And that's been going on forever. I don't think they're ever going to stop that, because they're worried too much about, just like Republicans worry too much if they agree with something to the Dem, like the Dems know that, there's really no money in solution. There's money in the problem. You got prison. You got the welfare system for people who, some guys are feeling they can't get jobs. They come out of jail, they need stuff, or single mothers. It could be white, black, Spanish, whatever. You got most of these people that just don't understand that, well, I guess they do, but they don't, or they play dumb. That a lot of these things, there's a lot of laws, what I'm getting at, are in place in a lot of these train wreck cities and towns, what's going on. They're just not implemented because everybody worries about the backlash, what they're going to say or vote, rather than saying what's real and what's, needs to be said, because that's what's right. People worry about getting judged or being attacked on social media. That's a big problem too. We got to get away from that, man. Like, we're all going to agree to disagree, but we don't have to agree and just start hating each other and, saying, oh, well, I don't like what you're saying. Screw you. I'm not going to listen.
But it's freedom of speech, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Now, here's the thing about the freedom of speech thing, real quick, is that truthfully, like for instance, YouTube, we talk about as creators, usually the conservative creators, because there is a bias there. But we get a little bit more censored than the left, and we know that. Same thing on all social medias. But the truth is people wouldn't actually want true freedom of speech on social media. It would be fucking always chaos. It would always be chaos. It would be crazy. People don't actually know how crazy, even just a very small pool of people with a community that has true free speech. I'm sure if you guys watch some crazy Rumble streams,
that's a good point, Mike. That's a really good point.
I don't think a lot of people can actually handle that extremity, you know what I mean? And hence why we can't do it as a society, because it can incite violence. It can influence others to act a certain way. Hence why I always say every time I speak on here, I have a huge duty, you know what I mean? Because people actually listen to what I have to say. And there are a lot of people that will take what I have to say as gospel. So if I know that, I cannot be spewing just random rhetoric that I don't know. That how that is as bad as it gets. That's worse, you know what I mean, in every sense of the word.
I think they need to have free speech on the internet, but they need to start holding people accountable for the things they say.
Well, how do you enforce it other than banning them and getting them away from the platform, right?
Libel, slander, the same ways that they used to allow people to press charges against people.
Because you know exactly where they live.
If you're willfully saying something that you know is false and could damage somebody, then
how you
should be held accountable for it.
How are you going to prove that?
Well,
that
with the internet, it's there. It's out there. You can't really erase
a harder solution than you think. Just like the inner workings and dynamics of a government, it's very, very. There's so much to it that people they can't even extract 1/1,000,000th of what the internet can actually provide. Some people have no idea that. You could literally get in and hack into other people's houses from your own computer, from where I sit right now. You know what I mean? I could essentially do some crazy shit like that because the internet does allow for some crazy shit. But yeah, regarding the whole thing, regarding the liberals and the Democrats and the Republicans is that if you don't like what's going on around you, think about it like this, man, is too many people are way too hyper-focused on the presidency, which is cool. Absolutely. I understand we're in election year. That's the way it's going to be. But the one thing really and truly is if you want to see actual change and difference in your own personal life, the president's not going to change that much for you. What it is going to change, where you will see change, is your local government. For some reason, we have all this uproar and we're wanting to talk about and nonstop Kamala and Trump, right? Nonstop. But how come no one's talking about do they even know who the mayor of Los Angeles is?
The down ballot. Nobody ever talks about that, man. The local elections, from the state houses and the state Congress, then you go up to the regular Senate. Man,
most people don't even. When it's not a presidential election, most people don't even vote. That's the only time they come out to vote is every 4 years.
Right, and
they don't pay no attention to anything else. And they forget that the president doesn't have that much power by himself, really. And that's one of the things that drives me nuts. And I've heard presidents say it before. I don't understand why you voted me in, and then turn around and voted in a majority Democrat House. Because now I can't do anything.
Yeah, you can't. You're fighting uphill.
It doesn't make any sense why people do some of the things they do.
I agree.
Man.
I was just having
that's a great point, Mike, because I tell you, in that community, not to get into it, but just to let you know, there's people over there that have doxed people, that come after underage people, put pictures up there of babies, and guess what?
Trafficking.
Yeah, all that shit. And I'm going to tell you, man, you're 1,000% right. They don't, I was watching something the other day. It's for 13 million views, that's $59,000 or something. It doesn't always come down to the money. Is that what it's ultimately about? Because negative self.
Should be more than that. You should be getting paid at least on YouTube, right? Let's just say YouTube. YouTube, you average about 7,500 to 8,000 per million. You know, so that let's just times that by 50. You know, I mean that's a humongous number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of gives you the extremity of you can. There's major money to be made, but again, that's what's so appealing about doing this. But at the same token, remember, just like in a capitalistic state, everything is a 1% ordeal. You know what I mean? Just like OnlyFans, for instance, I'll use this as a direct comparison. Is how much do you think the average creator, the average out of every single one of them, how much do you think their average make is per month?
I happen to know that. I happen to know there was a little person woman.
Hold on. If you know, I want to hear HardWire's guess.
She made $20 million her first year off OnlyFans, and the other lady said she made her first month 70,000. She didn't have to sleep with anybody or anything,
right?
And she kept going. But the little person,
you hear
I don't
all
know if that's
So yes, that is true. But what is the average out of all the girls that are on there on OnlyFans? How much do you think their monthly nut is? How much do you think they make from OnlyFans per month?
10 grand.
Okay. What about you, HardWire?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
All right, you guys ready for a mind-blowing reality?
Go ahead.
It's $140 per month.
Wow.
Really?
So let's go ahead and discuss. Again, it's a 1% ordeal.
It must be
every
because
girl sees that and willing to sell their soul, and then they realize they're only making $140 per month. You know what I mean?
For every 20 creators there are on there that make big money, there's 1,000 that don't.
Exactly.
So it drives the average way down.
Yes.
That's what the girl said. She said I made the first month 78. She said I made 70, 80,000. She goes, but by the time 2-3 years passed, she was like on the second year, she had to like do all kinds of other nasty shit to get the revenue because it was
people get bored with it and lose interest.
And there's no longevity in that business, and it's been proven for literally fucking thousands of years. Like it's not something that you're going to die an 85-year-old woman. You know what I mean? Like,
no matter how pretty you are, you will get old.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
Yeah, there's no way. You know. So I mean, that's to give you guys context on 1% issues, right? And this one of them being. Like, for instance, YouTube is so enticing to the younger generation because they're watching what? Mr. Beast. Yeah, the number one creator in the entire fucking world. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course, that's going to make influence. You know what I mean? You have hundreds of millions of views per video. You don't think you're influencing a handful of fucking kids there? Absolutely you are. You know what I mean? And so people see this and it's like the Disney effect. Like it looks so enticing. It's so like why would I ever want to have a job if I can do this? Well, no one talks about the fucking how long it takes to build yourself up. How it's actually to gain an audience and retain an audience actually takes a very special personality. You know what I mean? There's very key traits to having that, and not everyone has that, and that's okay. But it's just like, for instance, my channel is fairly fucking small. I would say it's a very small channel, but I'm still considered the top 5,000 accounts of all the United States.
Man,
you know
listen, let me tell you about your channel that I can speak. I won't say names, but I know people who were in my chat who are very political, and I won't say names, and they would leave the chat once it was mentioned, and I've seen them in your chat stay because you got a way of making people feel. I really sometimes don't like to talk about that shit, but every day I'm the guy in the morning to say, yo, get up, man. Now I want to do different content. I want to go better. I'm trying to like, yo, love yourself, man. Be happy. Fuck everybody else. Treat people with respect. You know, bikers for life, whatever, all that other shit. But you have people that said to me, they're like, yo, like, I don't agree with everything Mike says, but I respect the way he says it. And that says a lot when you're talking about personality traits. And even everything I've ever been through, man, like the couple little disagreements I've had on YouTube, that whatever, not going to talk about that. I've never lost a substantial amount of subs, bro. It's only been like 10 or like, you know what I mean? It's like people know if you're real, you're not, like, you know, but I feel the way you bring it across, you know, is something that people could really really understand because not they don't people are like you're saying it what you feel, but you're not saying you have to do this. A
Of
lot
course
of
not.
people are saying, I'm just like they'll tell you this, I'm just telling you, you do whatever you want. I'm just telling you, but and then it comes to this. Just know if you do that, like that shouldn't even be said. It should be do what you want, think what you want, vote how you want, whatever. But I'm just telling you my opinion and what I feel and how I see things. And I think you deliver that great. And
No, I
you know,
appreciate that. Thank you.
people told me that, man. You know,
Yeah,
know,
to me,
go ahead.
there's an ideal, kind of an ideal size to a channel where, like, I notice sometimes in Mike's room, and I always love being there, but sometimes when you start getting up there around 60, 70, 80
it's
people
hard.
in the chat room, then it loses a lot of its personalness to
Yes,
it. You know what
it
I
does.
mean? So,
Oh, yeah.
and that's one of the
does.
most enjoyable things. I've noticed that I'll check out some of like the Crucible stuff, but he gets so many people in them chat rooms.
Yeah.
You could say whatever you want, and nobody sees it. It goes by so fast.
I'll be right there with them.
You got to
next
pay
year.
$10 for him to read something on the air. You know, there's something
Mhm.
about that just doesn't have the appeal that a smaller channel like ours
I would
does.
agree. I would agree because you can get personable. You can really understand and have conversation back and forth. And now, when the chat is scrolling too fast, you can't even
Yeah, but
have it long enough to even read it. Let alone it just goes, whoop, you know what I mean, and it's gone. You can't even have a conversation. It's just fucking
I
gone.
seen your channel. I won't say there was another channel that had 300 in his chat. I seen your channel that night or whatever that day. You had 80 people in there. Your channel's going like this, and his channel's going like this.
Yeah, it's weird.
You know what I mean?
But you know what's weird is I can have that kind of engagement. Let's just say I have 40 people in there. You know, for instance, I've noticed other creators that will have 300-400 live viewers and won't have anywhere close the interaction that I get. You know what I mean? Like my comments and my reactions will be so much higher than theirs, even though they held more viewership. And so
Yeah.
being able to pull now something that the average creator doesn't know is 80% of the people that watch you are never even going to comment. You know what I mean? They're never going to comment. So
Or you can be like Black Dragon and just ignore everybody anyway. He doesn't even get that many people in there sometimes, and he just don't pay attention anyway.
No, he doesn't, because he doesn't understand how important it is. You know, someone of my generation knows exactly how important that is. That's how you retain people's attention. That's, you know, you want to have conversation with them. They need that. And guess what? Be honest. When I call your guys' name out, doesn't it feel good?
No, and I think you're right because let me tell you
Absolutely.
something.
It's a little bit of adrenaline for us, and that's something that everybody feels.
It makes a person feel seen, and it's
Yes,
important for
absolutely. They're a
somebody.
part of it. That's why it's the family, it's the club, man. And that ideology is exactly it. Like, you are all seen. You know what I mean?
Like
And so
when I see new people come in there, I try to make sure I say hi to the new people too.
Yep.
Because that way, you know, if somebody pops in, says hi, and nobody even acknowledges they pop into the room, then they're just going to leave, and then that'll be the end of that. You know, you're not going to retain that person.
Hey, HardWire, you see, man, I still think old school.
Oh, you got a flip phone.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You got to get with the times and get a fucking iPhone, man.
No, I do. I don't have an iPhone. That's my mom. God rest her soul. That's my mom.
I had an iPhone, and I had so many problems with it. I swore I'd never own another one.
And do you own another one, or do you have an Android? Oh, you do have an Android.
I got an Android.
That's right. Every time I text you and I get the same thing with code too. Both of you guys are lames. I send green text messages when it should be blue. You know,
I have thought about giving him another chance though, because there's been so many generations since I had all them
when
issues.
was the last time you had an iPhone?
When it was the 3G.
I never had one ever. My son has one. He has the not the brand new one. What's the one under that? He has.
That's why the iPhone has become the #1 content creator's choice. Absolutely, because the camera quality on it alone is stupid. And I always pay for the Pro, because if you don't pay for the Pro, you only get the 2 cameras. If you pay for the standard. But if you pay for the Pro, it's 3. And so you get some insane 8K like resolution video at 120 frames per second. You know what I mean? That's a lot of, it's like clearer than you looking with your eyesight. You know what I mean? And so a lot of content creators use it. And now I know that most of these YouTube videos are actually being recorded from one. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't use those big DSLR cameras and video cameras anymore. Just even though they're very nice, but you can get the exact same shit from out of your iPhone. So that's why
I'll be honest.
content creators love it.
I've had Androids forever, and I've had the one that I have now. I think is the Galaxy 23. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the one before that, 22. But I tell you what, I do sense a little bit of like my son's phone. It seems like it's faster, does more things. You know, I know they had some problems, hiccups before, but I heard now it's different. I was thinking maybe to dip my foot in the iPhone world, but how hard is it? The application, is it hard to learn that? Is it like pretty much the same, or is it way different
Well, I mean, with an
from
iPhone,
Android to iPhone?
what I would say is iPhone. It's easier to go from Android to iPhone than it is iPhone to Android.
Okay.
There's way too many things on an Android that most people aren't going to use. And so it's filled with too many things, and it can be like, well, fuck it, I'm never going to learn it kind of ordeal. A lot of people do that. They just give up. The iPhone is so damn easy. They make it the user interface is what won the iPhone, was essentially how easy it is to use. You want it to do this, you click that and it does it. You know what I mean? And you don't have to go through a million settings to be able to get to that, and a million shortcuts and all this bullshit you can do with an Android, which is cool, sure. But even a tech savvy guy like me, I will never use majority of what it offers. So why would I even want to?
Well, Androids are a lot more secure, or not Android, but iPhones supposedly are a lot more secure.
Yeah, you can't
harder to hack.
Yeah, you can't.
I heard they can, but it's a lot harder.
Yeah, I mean, you have to literally hook it up, know the code. You have to be able to like extract bullshit out of it from a computer. Absolutely, you can. But like, let's say you're like going on a website or whatever, random whatever websites.
Always beat the Mets.
It won't you won't get a virus in your phone. You won't, you won't get hacked through links and shit like that. So you don't have to be as fucking scared to like.
Okay, you're selling me on this thing at this point. So let me ask you something.
See, that's true influence, right?
I've always had T-Mobile, right? So my sister and them has Verizon. I don't like AT&T service at all. I really want. That's what I have now. I haven't had them for like 3 years. But which one do you think is better?
Listen, all of them are pretty decent. The honest truth is, yeah, you're going to have some drop calls from T-Mobile. You're going to have some drop calls from AT&T. Verizon's known as like
I've had pretty much all of them.
But and so have I. But I've been an AT&T guy forever. T-Mobile
was really good if you live in a city and the majority of your traveling is in the city. I switched to Verizon because if you're out in the country, they're still like an analog setup where T-Mobile is mostly digital. If you live out in the country and you have a lot more hills in the area and things like that, then Verizon's going to be better for you.
Right. But now a lot of these repeaters, essentially the cell towers, will actually bounce off of their own companies. Like AT&T's will hold, for instance, Verizon's whatever, or T-Mobile's, and it'll use that cell tower essentially. So it's weird how that shit works. And some companies work with others and some don't. But the truth is I've had AT&T since the original iPhone, basically. You know what I mean? And I have swapped a couple of times back, but I've always come back to AT&T. And even when I moved here, I had perfect coverage, and I'm out in the rural.
I just don't know why I'm paying both.
And when Mike says he's out in the middle of nowhere, he ain't kidding.
Yeah, he knows. He knows. He's been here.
Yeah, he ain't a kidding when he says he's out in the middle of nowhere. He says how you like Alabama. I'm like, it's not that. I grew up in rural Ohio. It's pretty much about the same. It's a little hotter down there. Other than that, it's about the same.
Well, you came at the worst time of the fucking year too. I mean, that you come right during the smack dab middle of summer. Yeah, it's not.
I'm gonna try to make that a once a year, at least once a year trip. I'm gonna try to come down again next year.
Oh, we'll have a blast.
Yeah, we'll try to plan. I'll try to plan something a little bit better. Maybe find a big concert or something, and what is it, Huntington or something, and try to buy something. Yeah, Huntsville. We'll try to plan some. That was a spur of the moment thing. So me coming down there, I was just like, hey, hell with it. I got a little time off and want to come down there. So But yeah, next time maybe I can plan it a little bit better and try to come down.
We actually
at least
hold
once
right
a year.
here. We actually hold right here one of the biggest rock concerts of all the country, Rock the South. It's right here in Coleman, Alabama. We're right where I live. You know what
Was
I mean?
it like a big festival?
Humongous. Yeah, it's ridiculously huge.
I like the festivals sometimes.
I think you had shown up either right before or right after that whole thing just happened, right as you were here. Yeah, the Rock the Fest, or Rock the South. I didn't go though. I didn't want to go.
Most of the people where I'm at have Italian grass. You know what that Italian grass is, right? That's concrete. Country's
Nice.
like a little ways out. But I love them dudes up that way, man, up like Chester County and all that, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'll make this statement. I'm not being prejudiced. I'm just telling you, this is the truth. When you got clubs, and I'm gonna be real, the more like inner city guys, I respect what they do and everything, but I feel that I've seen over the years more brotherhood when you get closer out. The farther you start going out to the country, it seems like those guys have more. It seems like, my own opinion. Like every time I would go out to an event or whatever, and them guys, man, it just seems like it was more like this versus the city. Everybody's like, this guy hates this guy, he don't like this guy or this guy. It's like never stops, man.
It's true.
It's amazing how in the city people are so packed on top of each other, but barely even know each other, and they don't pay no attention. Used to be love thy neighbor and all this stuff, and in the cities they don't. Nobody knows each other. They walk past each other and they don't pay no attention.
That's exactly the way it was for all the places I lived, except in Huntington Beach, California, before I moved here. All the other places I ever was, you know what I mean? I didn't know any neighbors. You know what I mean? I'd be there for a year, 2 years, 3 years. I wouldn't know a single neighbor's name. I wouldn't have their phone numbers. I would try to interact with them, and they'll like try to fucking dodge you. Like,
right.
No, man, I don't want to.
Cleveland's only an hour and a half north of here, but whenever I moved to Cleveland, it was amazing how much of a difference there is of the city type of culture. Like around here, you can go to Walmart and come across a complete stranger and sit there and yap and BS with them for like an hour.
Yep.
Somebody you don't even know. Yep. But up there, when I moved up there, I said, you even say hi to somebody, you walk past and they look at you like, why are you talking to me? I don't know you. You know what I mean? It's completely different. It's amazing how much
blinders on. You know what I mean?
You gotta go down here in Philly, or even walking through Kensington, man. It's like your head's got to be on a swivel. It's very there's so many people.
I'll go down there with you and we'll make a video.
Calm down, man.
I stopped on the south side of Philly the first time I didn't even go downtown. I'm a bit, because I grew up out in the country, a little city phobic. I don't like big cities. But I stopped on the south side of Philly. I said, now that I'm actually close to Philly, I got to get a Philly cheesesteak, like a real Philly cheesesteak.
Where did you go? Do you remember where you went?
I can't remember the name of the place. It was a little brick building on a corner.
That's all of them.
It was on the south side, and I was like, he's like, what do you want on? And I said, well, just put the normal stuff on it. You got like A1, and all of a sudden everybody stopped and like, you don't ask for A1.
yeah, A1.
I was like, oh, whatever you usually put on, it's fine.
A1 for anybody that is a real connoisseur of like any type of beef or meat and stuff like that. You only have A1 when it's fucking shitty, and you got to cover up that taste. You know what I mean? That's essentially that's what it's meant for. You're supposed to use Worcestershire. You're supposed to use stuff like that. Not A1. A1 is when it's you overcooked it, and you're like, fuck it, dude. Like at least I got some A1 to make it better.
Yeah, that's the one thing that almost made me lose respect for Trump when I heard he puts ketchup on steak. I'm like, oh, dude, that's a sin.
That is an ungodly thing to do.
That's like they call gravy sauce. I mean, I just as Italian,
I've never heard gravy ever be called sauce. And then what do you call sauce? What is it that you use a different term for?
Marinara. Marinara sauce. And gravy, mostly it's gravy.
Yeah.
It's the meat. Like if you think of turkey, gravy, beef, gravy, pork, gravy. They don't have pizza sauce, which is, I guess it can be sauce. or marinara. But I cook, dude. My
I'm
mom,
gonna
I
use
grew
some
up. I'm
pizza gravy.
pizza gravy, hey, whatever. But no, even like they get serious over here, though, in Philly, dude. You'll have like one block will say gravy, the next one will say sauce, but it's crazy, man.
That's so
My
funny.
my sister's still I'm like 5 minutes. She's still in the city. She has a really good damn, her flower shop's unbelievable, man. The work that she does, she's
Yeah,
very
we probably
successful.
we got a 2 hour show. We probably ought to wrap it up. I don't think
Much
anybody's
love,
ever going
Hey,
to
honor,
man,
and
real
rewatch
quick.
respect
this.
to you guys.
Look at that,
All
bro.
right.
She made that. It's carnation.
Oh, that's
She
dope.
made that of flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make one out of
Good.
make a Harley one.
I don't want to get into that, but many clubs she has done flowers. She's actually got
Mhm.
more. It's crazy. I'm like, how do you know these guys more than me? I've been around them. She's like, she's done a lot of flowers for a lot of clubs and couple of the big. I won't say which ones, but a couple of the big ones. And respectfully, she's. And the cool thing is they've always passed the business, and they've always had good relationships. So it's good to see that, man. You know what I mean? And she does outstanding work. So thanks for having me up here, bro. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Thank you for
For real.
having me up here as
Thanks
well,
for stopping
HardWire.
on the show. Makes it easier to fill time whenever I got other people to talk
Trust
to
me,
other than
it
myself.
very much is way easier when you have a guest. But believe it or
Yeah.
not, it's so weird. I've been live streaming by myself for so long that I way prefer it. You know what I mean? It's very strange, but like me joining your guys' panel, I mean, I'm always happy to do shit like that. But for like my
Yeah.
own show, yeah, it's kind of weird how I would prefer to do it by myself than have somebody there, because then you're focusing all your attention on just that one other person rather than
Yeah.
all that attention being focused on all the people watching
That
you.
was nice because we're all three friends, so
Oh yeah,
I
no,
kind
totally.
of sort of know what to expect. But if it was a complete stranger on
No,
the
you
show,
wouldn't want to do that. I
that
would
would be
never.
weird.
Oh,
I would never say bring up randoms. That's
I have to
not
do
something.
I have to do some damage control in the morning because Kingston was talking about fucking. He was saying how his girl's fake breast. He didn't like it because
Yeah, I seen that.
he was a little like not insecure, whatever he said. So when he would be out, guys would. So I said, man, like I know what he meant. He didn't mean that. So we've caught a lot of heat over that, bro. So I had
Get used
to.
to it. That's the internet.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I do have one question for you, Mike. I mean this. So if you're not monetized and you get 13 million views on YouTube, you don't get paid for that? Nothing. Damn.
Big fat zero.
Yeah,
You get recognition maybe. Like, hey, I got a 13 million viewed
so
video.
how do you play? We'll talk about it later, but I watch you when you play videos. You don't have to tell me here, but that's what every time I play somebody's stuff, they when I played the video about the Venezuelan gang, whatever, doing what they did, they didn't like that, man. I guess I should have stopped it, paused it. What is it, like every 15 seconds or something?
Well, fair use just says that you have to essentially, if you're going to use someone else's like shit, you have to somehow make it your own content where you're not ripping someone else off, right? You're not stealing their money. If anything, you're going to help them on their end. So like if I review footage, for instance, then there's more of a chance people are going to go over there and actually subscribe because I shouted it out. I did everything I needed to do. And then on top of that, I made it my own. I will never allow it to run longer than usually about like maybe even a minute is pushing it. Like I like to have little things I'll throw in there. And even just me going, yep, I agree with this point. Don't agree with that. That's enough for it to be, but you know what I mean? You don't want to just have it where it's just playing and then you talk about it afterwards. That's how I got in trouble.
Fair use says you have to have like criticism, or I think it is, or
don't
commentary.
play songs either because they get you.
Yeah, songs is a big one, but you won't get banned for it. You will get banned for taking other people's shit, though.
Yeah.
Like music, you're okay with. Like the worst that happens, you get a copyright, which is not a big deal.
I went to, I think it's called Pixabay. They got a whole bunch of stuff, music that people have uploaded to it. It's like similar to YouTube has free to use songs or whatever, and they got a whole bunch of them on there. That's kind of where I got some of those ones that I was using.
That's awesome.
Fair use or free use or whatever songs.
Yep, free use, and copyright free. all those kind of things, unless you make your own music, or even like, if, like, for instance, you guys will hear me play music that I didn't necessarily write, right? Well, the thing is I actually have documentation from that artist to actually use their music. You know what I mean?
You know what I thought
So
about
I went
doing
back
is
that way.
I thought about going to I got a couple of CDs. They're old CDs from a friend of mine's band that they released, and just going to my buddy and ask him if I could use those, because technically that would be okay, wouldn't it, if I have his permission to use them?
As long as
all originals.
Essentially, as long as it's not on the internet already, like if there's a YouTube video that he uploaded that album on, you know, which happens all the time. Most people do that, you know, and so they'll section it off track by track, or the whole album, or whatever the case is. If it's anywhere on the internet, it's already his. So if he kept it on CD only, let's call it, then you could play it right now and nothing could happen, you know, because there's no one claiming the music. Now, let's say it has been on YouTube and your boy says like, hey, you can use it, but, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, the thing is, just because he told you that you can use it doesn't mean that YouTube's going to recognize that. YouTube's
that's what happened to me with Paul Smith, the artist from England.
You need the paperwork. Yeah. You need the paperwork, and you send that paperwork into YouTube. Yeah, it's very complex.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
but
anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. It's been a 2-hour show.
Yeah, it's time for me to go up there and go have some drinks.
Football game's going to be starting here pretty shortly too.
Yes, sir.
That's
right.
Root for the Steelers.
Sure.
Yeah, I will. I've always will. Shit, but Eagles come first.
All right, guys.
God bless,
thanks for joining me.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks everyone that's been here.
See you tomorrow.
You guys. Yep. See you guys.
Well, everybody, thanks for joining me today. Those are the tough conversations sometimes that need to be had. Until next time, thanks for joining us for Hitting It with HardWire.